Hey, this is Edward Ambrosi. Another quick video. I wanted to show some of the frameworks and concepts related to Cold Email 2025. So we're coming in 2025. It's still 2024, but I wanted to set up this video up for other people to get in more success with reaching out to businesses, getting more deals in, higher ticket deals specifically. So this is going to be a super raw video. And I'm going to go kind of step by step on what I need you guys to understand as far as the key components of a process. So I've basically designed like a pyramid that has three big layers, and then I'm going to talk about each component of that kind of big pillar because there's a lot of intricacies related to this. And all the other intricacies, I don't want to paste them in this particular video because all these intricacies might change in time. And I'm just giving you the concepts of the frameworks that you need to be aware of when you're dealing with emailing at scale, right? Even if this changes in 3 years, you're still going to be able to apply some of the logic to reaching out to companies and just getting more revenue in, because this hasn't been changed as far as the fundamental level of frameworks in the last, I would say, 7 years I've been doing this. Okay, so because it's kind of deep down entrenched into psychology, and this still works. Okay, and it's also deep down entrenched in statistics and how statistics works, and as far as different markets and so forth. So I'm going to talk about 3 different pillars, and then give you some of my thoughts. Okay. So this might be a little bit of a boring and more technical video, and just kind of listening to me and you taking some notes. I think that if you're going to be taking notes right now, it's really going to help you to do this properly based on whatever market you're in. And this can be applicable to a lot of different markets, not to every single market, but to a lot of B2B markets and service-based markets where you're selling something of higher value, higher price point typically. Okay. It's going to be a good channel to get into. So let's talk about the fundamental base first is infrastructure setup. What does that actually mean, infrastructure setup related to Cold Email 2025? So in order to be able to get a lot of responses every day, you need to understand that you need to send a lot of messages every single day. If you're sending just 50 messages a day, 100 messages a day, you might not be able to get a ton of replies coming in, because statistically, very few people would reply on email. There's not like 50% of the guys you're emailing, you're going to reply. It's not really the case in 2025. So in order for you to optimize for getting replies and getting opportunities in, the first thing you need to solve is volume. The only way to solve volume at scale and not get banned on any of these platforms which you're going to be using, like Google or other mailboxes or other systems that you can email from, is you're going to need to have multiple accounts, right? So think of it as, let's say you don't want to get banned on TikTok or social media or any other platform. If you're posting a lot of stuff, you're probably going to need to delegate that to different channels. You're probably going to need to mitigate that risk by creating all the channels, same as here. Instead of you having one business email or one email that you're sending emails from, you're going to have 10, 20, 30, 40, right? There's no particular recommendation I have related to how many you need to have, because I don't really know the metrics of your market to tell you that. But in essence, you should have enough so that you're getting a few replies every day, in between 2 to 5 to 10 replies every day from the market. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to gain momentum with a process, right? So going back to infrastructure setup, multiple accounts, that also means you're going to need to have multiple domains, right? Because you can't just really have one domain and have a lot of accounts in that domain. The reason is, if you're going to be sending from the same domain a lot of different emails from different accounts, that domain might get flagged, or you're going to have trouble with that domain. So what you're really doing is you're getting multiple domains, you're mitigating that risk, and you're getting multiple business emails on each of those domains. So typically, nowadays, you're going to be getting 3-4 different business emails on each domain you're going to be getting, right? You could do that through instantly.ai. You can do that through Smart Lead as well. There's different tools essentially, but you can set this up. There's a different company called, I believe, Namecheap, where you can do this and you can buy the domains and do all this kind of stuff. Instantly.ai also has a done for you component where you can set the domains up and they can set the security related to the domains in around 72 hours, I believe. That's my experience, at least, that I've done that in the past, and I think that it's still doable with that. Now, what happens is once you get a lot of these domains, you got a lot of these emails set up. The way email works is you need to warm up all your accounts, meaning you can't just start sending that volume of, like, let's say 50 emails a day per business email, because it's just going to get flagged into spam a lot quicker and it's not going to work, right? So what you want to do is you want to start sending a few emails into their ecosystem. Their ecosystem, I mean the tool you're using. So Instantly might have a warm-up pool of different email accounts, and it's essentially communicating with those emails back and forth in an automatic fashion so that your email account is kind of getting warmed up. It's getting kind of like quote-unquote positive feedback from the ecosystem or from the market. What happens is this kind of prepares your email for sending more and more emails, so that when you're emailing your market, you're going to have a higher probability of landing in their inbox and just getting more replies because of that, right? So this process will take up to 3 weeks, and I recommend, but the more time you wait, the higher the warm-up is going to be, okay? Now, that's not everything, because a lot of people think that if you're going to set up your infrastructure, you're going to have all the domains, or you're going to have all the warm-up done, then that's it. Well, a lot of people right now also rely on the social assets you have as well. Are you actually active on any of the platforms related to your market? Is your market spending time, let's say, on LinkedIn? Or are you actually active and you're providing a lot of context and value, and you're giving a lot of things away to your market for free? Do you have any social proof or social assets or case studies or things that you can share with the market? So while this setup is getting done, you need to build a nurturing mechanism around yourself and your brand and your company that will also serve you in a way that when people read your emails, they can notice you on social media as well, right? So again, if it's a B2B format, LinkedIn. If it's a B2B format, you might be posting stuff on YouTube that's super targeted, and that's related to the topic where you're serving your market. Okay, it could be demos, it could be specific case studies, it could be why you need to do certain thing related to your service, why people need to buy that service, the typical pain points of your market, and how you're solving some of those pain points. And it needs to be super specific, right? The more of those social assets and content you have, and it's strategically positioned in that market, the better this infrastructure is going to do. Otherwise, you're just emailing people. There's no social assets. This is not going to convert as well. So email works very good when you have a multi-channel nurturing process. Not only a multi-channel outbound process, but a multi-channel nurturing process of providing value to the market. Because really the market is, initially when you email a market, they don't really trust you. So in order for you to be able to gain trust, is you need to gain brand, and you need to be able to build a brand around yourself and getting a lot of impressions around your brand so that people can change your mind around your values, your philosophy, what are you able to provide to the table, the fact that you're consistent of a market, and so forth. So that's how that works. Now, a big problem that happens is when you're setting up this process is you're not really doing much after you set up a process. Let's say you've done the process, you have some assets, you have some case studies, you have some infrastructure in place, but you're actually waiting for a few weeks or a month to actually make this warmed up, or wait for the whole warm up to happen. While this is happening, what I suggest is, instead of you waiting, is you can be proactively researching the markets you're going to be reaching out to, understanding how you're going to reach out to them, understanding how you're going to enrich that data, building all the workflows related to that, using the right tools, and then also connecting to them on LinkedIn or connecting to them in a social format so they can already start seeing your social assets without you directly sending them a cold message or an outbound message, but just connecting to them on LinkedIn. So let's say you found a list, just going back to number 2, which is research pain points, select markets, scraping and enriching data, expertise. So let's say you have thought about a market to penetrate a market in US, a particular market, but you're someone says that's, I'm not sure, air conditioning, or you're selling to air conditioning companies, or you're selling to some sort of rubber company. And you have found different ways on how you can pull some of these leads or some of these databases of these leads. And you can also pull some of your LinkedIn contacts or some of your Facebook contacts or some of your other places on social where we spend more time. It's typically going to be, in most cases, LinkedIn. What you can do is you can start connecting to those people. You can delegate that task of connecting to those individuals that have the highest qualification level, because you can also assign like a lead score to that person based on some of the enriching tools you're going to give to them. So let's say you're using an enriching tool like Clay, and you can give a lead score to all these 10,000 people you've scraped, and you can say, hey, I'm going to connect to these first 10% of people that have these characteristics or traits, and we're going to just connect to them over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Let's say you're connecting to 30, 40 people a day on LinkedIn. I think there's a limit following that. So you got to be careful based on the date and the year of that limitation. But what you can do is you can start connecting to those people without mentioning anything particular. That way you can amass a little bit of momentum on LinkedIn. You could also do some very small advertising on awareness around your brand on Meta to those exact people before you're landing in their inbox with a very particular outbound message. So essentially you're warming up a market to landing your website, seeing your face before they actually see an outbound message. This is what you can do in those 2-3 weeks. It's a good strategy to prepare the market for a bigger step. Second of all is in this, while this is happening, while you're connecting to these people, before you even connect to these people, you need to understand what challenges they have. And the only way to understand what challenges they have is not just by typing in words in ChatGPT and understanding what challenges they have, but it's to actually get on phone calls with real people that give you real data and give you real concerns by you talking to them. So by you calling the market and having 5, 10, 20 different calls with different people and building a report around those people, building an insight tool around those people into what is the deepest pain point they have. It's typically related to something that you're going to solve. So you need to go into that angle. You don't need to talk about some other challenges that you can't solve, of course, but you need to dive deeper into the challenges that you might be able to solve and the consequences of those challenges. This is when you can understand how you're going to use messaging and the offer and the follow-up process and the sales process to then be able to get in front of these people. After you've identified that, you need to have a table where you specify these specific pain points, these specific consequences of those pain points, the specific desires those individuals have, so that now you have a better understanding of a market than anybody else. You're more of an expert in that market than anybody else. And then you need to understand what tools you're going to use to get those contacts at scale. Maybe you've talked to 10 people, but you're going to need to talk to thousands of people to scale your revenue. So you need to understand what are the metrics or what are the characteristics or traits you're going to need to get from some of these leads to understand if they're really, really qualified. For example, I need them to grow at a specific percentage, have a specific employee count, have a specific revenue, have specific tools. Maybe they've raised some capital or some other triggers you're going to need to identify in your business model. Or maybe they've changed from one tool to a different tool related to IT where something happened. right? Or somebody got hired in a particular position and you can reach out to that person. They're more keen to changes than other older people that are not keen to changes, right? So you need to find that trigger. And again, it's super custom to your space. I don't really know what that is going to be. So this is why I need to work with an expert so that expert can understand what's going to happen and give you different suggestions, right? Related to cold email. Once you understand the pain points, you understand what markets you're going to get into based on how many leads are available in my market, right? Once you understand how to enrich that data, what other data you need to be able to optimize your campaign for a better win, then you're probably going to finish up your warm-up and you're probably going to be ready to build your sequence as far as the campaign of messages, how many messages, your follow-up process, your sales process, and what's going to happen later, right? And again, what's going to work for your offer angle is some of the feedback you've got from some of your initial calls in the market and some of your initial research you've done of the market through different tools to understand what offers you can, what angles you can put in the offers, right? The first thing you're going to be testing in any tool when you're emailing a lot of people is you're not going to be emailing everybody at once. You're going to email a few people from that list and you're going to be testing the open rate. What an open rate is essentially how many people are going to be opening that email. You don't want to just send one type of email with one subject line and that's it. And then you're going to scale that to 10,000 people. You're going to send that to, let's say, 100 people. And you're going to have 5 different alternatives of different subject lines. You're going to test 5 different subject lines and you're going to start a campaign to understand what messaging of a subject line at what time. Let's say you're going to start at 9 a.m. in the morning or 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. is giving you the best yield as far as how many people are opening, because you're optimizing for open rates initially. So all the tools you're using, you're optimizing for open rates. Once you've optimized your open rates and you know, hey, at this time in this particular space, on average, I'm going to be getting 70% open rates. Okay, now you have something that could scale. And because you have something that could scale, now you can say, okay, so we're going to be building the messaging now properly in a way that we're getting more replies. Because the subject line is working. The subject line needs to be tied to the copy, but the copy can be still changed in a way that you're getting more replies. That makes sense? So what you're trying to do is now you're trying to optimize the messaging and the actual email copy, message number 1, message number 2, message number 3, and all of these things are going to be related to the subject line that worked, right? So you should have a follow-up process of between 4 to 7 different emails. And you should also have a sales process that will have other channels. Remember, you've connected to some of these people on LinkedIn. You could be calling people that are actually engaging with your emails right now. So you could be also re-messaging some of these people because if you're connected on LinkedIn and asking if they checked that particular email. You can delegate some of these processes to a company or an agency or even an assistant that can understand how to use some of these tools to do it properly, right? You need to have a script in place on how you're going to convert all these people. You need to have a follow-up process after you've deducted the call on what's going to happen for some of the things you're going to be doing after you've done your first call. Not just the email sequence, but after you've done your first call, what are the other phone calls you're going to be doing that is going to yield that revenue creation for your company? Because you're not looking to just generate leads, you're looking to generate a revenue and profitability for your firm. So all these components, especially the sales process, is going to matter. Not just emailing people, not just getting them to call, but understanding what to do with these individuals after they landed on a call with you. So this is just some of the basics you need to understand. If you want to fully get into a lot more context and a lot more depth related to your firm and you want an implementation process, I'm going to attach a calendar so you could book a call and we could diagnose what are you currently doing, what are your goals, what do you want to get done in 2025, and so forth, to see if we can help you. That was pretty much it for today. Thank you.